welcome back to the Pursuit of a College Education podcast. I'm Alexis, just to read the mission and vision statement, because wow, great start, Alexis. Okay, so I'm today's such an off day, and we'll get to that. Also, Giuliana's here. That's the other person who's laughing. So, mission statement is to document and further express what college life is and how it in turn affects me. And for the vision statement, through my stories, successes, and shortfalls, I hope that any other students, past, present, or future, can take comfort that the college career is a marathon and not a sprint. And today we have Giuliana from International Tea with Giuliana.
Hello. Yes, I
Hello.
am the host of International Tea, which is a fun podcast that I created just to talk about my experience as an international student in the US.
Very good perspective. I will say, I think, was it the last episode? Or was one of our collabs, right?
Yes.
Okay, did not listen to that one. The collabs I'm really weird on listening to because I lived them, but all the other ones are pure gold. You have to go and listen. I was about to say watch. You have to go and listen. And for the topic today, actually first an acknowledgement time. Um, this past weekend, which is actually the weekend right before the semester started, so we're actually recording this during day 2 of the fall semester.
Yep.
So much fun.
Oh.
There's an annual event at Disney World, and I have an upcoming episode about this called, hopefully it'll be called My Secret Hobby. Um, I also, my window's open. We'll get to that later if that noise is being picked up. It's the garbage truck. Anyways, there's an annual event at Disney World, which I usually go to with my sister and mother. And okay, garbage truck, you can keep it down. And it's actually I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's just like the annual pin event that they hold at in Epcot, which is one of their
Okay.
parks there. And see, this ties to being a college student because I never have money. I set a budget every year. Usually I start saving right after the holidays. So the
Yes.
the event is in August, and then right after the holidays when all the money is spent on all the presents and everything, I then start writing out a tentative budget because I was going to Disney a lot more often because if you want to talk about money and privilege, I had an annual pass while I was still living here as a high schooler. And I don't live anywhere near Central Florida, just to put that out there for everyone. So it was like, it was an event, it was a trip, and I would go almost every break I had. Now in college, not really possible, especially when parents don't shell out money for that anymore, to be honest. So this event, um, also, side note, my sister, well, actually was pre-pandemic. She was a cast member, so she did get the perks of getting me into the park for free. And then my mother would pay for the food while we were there because, again, that was the one of the few times I could see my mother because I don't live with her either. So then all I had to save up for was the ticket, which I think was only like $150. So obviously,
Not too bad.
yeah. But the thing is that if I didn't have my sister to get me into the park, I would be paying another couple $100 just to get in for those. It's a
Right.
2-day thing. So I was like,
Okay.
this is such, it's still a lot of money for me, but obviously it was manageable with um,
Mm-hmm.
these circumstances. So if for the most part, my food was covered, my ticket, also housing, also like
Oh, yeah.
some years we stayed with my sister and my allergies are bad now with her cat. So my mother is a DVC member, which means she just has a timeshare with Disney. So she usually gets a room. And then so me and my sister are just like, cool, we don't have to pay anything. So all I have to pay for is like merchandise. And obviously with this event, all it is about is merchandise. But the merchandise obviously is expensive. So I still have to save hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to be able to go. And I also have an
Oh, yeah.
emergency traveling fund that I have to fund every year for this because I've had to use it sometimes. I had to go to the urgent care last year, actually. Anyways, the whole acknowledgement of this is the pandemic made it so that I couldn't go to this trip. And while this is
Oh,
a very luxurious trip, I really felt this sadness this past weekend because like I said, it's one of the few times where I get to see my mom and my sister, and it's just me and my mom and my sister. It's not my sister with her roommates or my mom with I love them, but like my grandparents and my uncle. It's just like nuclear family time when us as nuclear family don't really live with each other anymore. So I really value
right.
that time. And we all like Disney, excuse me, we all like Disney pins and pin trading. And then the last thing is that's the only time in the year where I can buy and trade pins because now I don't go to Disney any other time. And buying and trading on the internet is very risky. So not only that is now there's no new pins for me to look at. Yes, does this sound privileged? Yeah, but also is a thing I've been doing for years. So I wanted to get that acknowledgement out before we talk about our preparation for the fall semester. And I
Yay.
purposefully wanted to talk about this. I was planning to do it first on my own, like a few weeks into the semester. I'm, it's, oh, oh God. Okay,
It's a lot.
it sounded like I was about to burp. That's not what I was trying to do. Um, it was that it is a lot, and I am so sorry that I keep forgetting the classes you were taking this semester, Juliana. So if you just, or whichever ones you want to share, if you just want to share like how many credit hours you're taking to try to get a feel for like how does your schedule look for this semester?
Sure, sure. Okay, so I have 15 credit hours.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. My classes aren't too hard compared to what I know yours are.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I have a foreign language class, which to me isn't entirely way too hard. It's an intermediate level. So I've been doing those classes since I got to college,
Mhm.
so it's not hard for me. That one specifically, and then I have a um I blanked out. Okay. I have a journalism class, which also like my classes aren't necessarily hard in content. There's just a lot to read and to do for them
Mhm.
every day for like homework and all kinds of assignments. So it's not like they're not very complicated or intricate. Most of it is just like reading. Um, goes into my psychology class also, which is not a hard class for me. It's just a lot of reading. And so they take a lot of time to do the assignments because it's like you have to read like 5 different chapters of things and like snippets across like the whole book to complete like a paper and things like that. So
Mhm.
it's more so time demanding than like mentally exhausting in that way. And then I have a confectionery arts class, which
Mhm.
Alexis so kindly recommended to me, which hasn't, I just had it yesterday and I only have it once a week. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be hard, but I don't want to say anything about it because I've only had one class
Oh, I
and I don't know.
it's not well, I think the only hard thing will be is if you don't like working with your hands because
Right.
that's literally all you're going to be doing.
I mean, we tasted chocolate yesterday, so I couldn't have been happier
Oh,
with my life.
most fun day. From what I
Oh,
did,
yeah.
and I took mine in the fall as well, so it really worked out. We did a chocolate showpiece or centerpiece, whatever you want to call it, and then we did a sugar centerpiece, and then we did a gingerbread house. And you take a few weeks,
Ooh.
and for the most part, he just shows you a few techniques, like a few things, and he gives you like a few basic guidelines, like it has to be like at least like a foot tall or 2 feet tall, and it needs to have a flower and this. But other than that, it's like you literally do whatever you want.
Okay, see, that sounds fun, and like it could be like one of my more relaxing classes.
Hmm.
So I like that.
Is cooking
I'm feeling
relaxing for
that.
you? Is working with your hands relaxing for you?
Kind of is, yeah. I mean, I have a tradition that we would do back home for Christmas. I make gingerbread cookies. And that was like the dessert that could not be missed and had to happen every Christmas. And so I like that was the only time that I felt relaxed throughout the whole thing because we were always hosting. So it was always a thing because so back home the celebration happens the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a whole dinner party and everything, and then you wait until midnight and then you turn off the lights and it's like, Santa Claus has just
Oh,
come and whatever for the
interesting.
children. That's what we do. um so the 24th is the big day. The 25th doesn't really matter because everybody is either with, completely dead tired or just doesn't want to be involved in the world. So the 25th is like we eat lunch together with the leftovers from the party.
Definitely.
So that was the one relaxing moment I had in between like all the madness. So I'd say it kind of does, yeah, it's relaxing to me. And also I've been baking a lot of bread recently.
Yes. Your Instagram
Thank
bread,
you,
or
quarantine.
I just said Instabread. I meant Instagram bread. Oh God,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm really messed that up. Oh goodness. Um, you're just out here like I
But
don't know if you're posting to, I guess, your personal Instagram, I should say. We follow each other
I don't think
personally.
I have.
But like people are out here on Instagram posting pictures of bread. And I was
Yeah.
actually asked by someone, I, I don't know if it was my sister or not, or my mom. I don't know how I can mix those two people up, but okay. But they said, don't you feel a little weird that, people are doing something that you really like, that's something you can make money from? And I'm like, I don't think like that. I'm not a business opportunist. Like I'm
Right.
not I'm not here to jump on the wagon and start baking bread just to make money, even though
Mm-hmm.
that's what I've chosen career-wise. Um, it's during a pandemic, people need things to do, and also food, everyone needs food. That's a thing where
Oh yeah.
when everyone's like, I still think everyone should know how to cook, something or some
Yeah,
things to keep
for
yourself
sure.
alive, because the markups for
Mm-hmm.
food when you eat out are ridiculous. Even at a very fast casual place like a Panera Bread, it's still very marked up. And
Oh yeah.
so when you talk about health and you talk about being frugal and saving money, I think there comes a lot of freedom in making what you want
Mm-hmm.
to eat. So when people are out here making breads, like I'm like, yes, I want more people talking about bread, and then also people to understand like how it's something that you have to have a patience with too. There are other things in the world of culinary that you need patience for, like cake decorating, but I only know
Mm-hmm.
like the baking and pastry side, but like bread, you cannot. And I'm gonna kind of out Giuliana. You also can't put, what was it, baking soda or baking powder in place
Okay,
of
that
yeast.
was an emergency.
But like,
I'd already made everything, like I couldn't back down and I didn't have the yeast,
I'm not here
so
to
I
shame
just put
you,
in.
because you know what? They're both leaveners, but yeast is on its own level, and yeast is the weirdest thing. You got to wait around for it. It's this living thing that does these chemical reactions, and you got to wait around for
Yes.
it. When baking soda and baking powder work a little differently, baking powder is double acting, but for the most part, when you add water to baking soda, it just goes. Like think of a bath bomb, it just starts
Mm-hmm.
fizzing or whatever the chemical reaction is. So it's a chemical leavener, and then baking powder is like baking soda with like other stuff added, and it's called a chemical leavener for a reason. But yeast is like, you have to baby it. If you're going to make a starter, you have to put, water and flour, and if you really want it nice, you put a little bit of sugar and you put the yeast in there, and then you just let the yeast do its job, and the yeast just expels CO2 and alcohol, and that's what, like, the yeasty flavor and taste you get from bread. That Wow, we got really off topic, but like, it just goes to show, like, People really love bread. And don't worry, Giuliana got the yeast. She made some bread
I got the
with
yeast.
yeast.
I made decent bread. I did the
It
thing that
looked
I had to
very
do.
good. It is more than decent.
Yay,
Bread
good.
needs
Because I
patience, but
took
also
time.
like it'll work out very well if you just wait, and it did for you. When you sent me that photo, I'm like, oh
Yes.
my God. And was this like in April or March?
Yeah,
And I
I
saw that
think so,
photo
probably.
and I waited to make bread at home until this month. I made some homemade bread a week or two ago. And it's the first time I've ever done it at home at all, really. So craziness. Anyways, I think I want to push it back a little more on topic. So we went over, so you're taking a confectionery arts class. We love that. You're dipping into some culinary, real fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's like a really, really fun class where you just get to like literally play with the food, like the chocolate and the sugar. And so,
Which is all good and I'm all up for.
yes. And then there's me this semester. I'm not here to
The
throw a pity
thunderstorms.
party, especially since I'm here with Giuliana. Like, I don't, she's also already heard it all over text message. Like, she knows.
I know the struggle
Um,
is real.
Also, a side note from the first episode that we collabed on my channel. Wow, not a YouTuber. On my podcast. It was such second nature to say channel. I
Yes.
talked about how I'm renting loose leaf textbooks. I got an email later confirming, much later than after we recorded that, obviously, that due to like, oh, our curriculums are online and there's like they have like it's like Pearson or I think those are like publishing companies that go along with the textbook. And since it's all online, they're like, we want to give you like
Mhm.
the cheapest version. So instead of, even though I said I wanted to rent an actual textbook, they made the decision for me to give me the cheapest version, which is a loose leaf version of the textbook. And these pages have already been ripping. They just rip right out like the little holes that they have in them.
Oh,
If I tug it too hard, it just
yes.
comes all the way out
Oh, I hate
because
that.
it's still the thickness of a regular textbook page.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me how that makes sense. Textbook, whatever, distributors, publishers, whatever the word is. Here's a formal complaint from a college student. No one likes loose leaf textbooks. So,
Oh, yeah. My foreign language books are also loose leafed, and it's just like such a thing. You have to buy like the big binders for it so they don't get
mm-hmm,
completely ruined. And I mean, I bought them so I can write on them and it's fine and they're just gonna be with me.
mm-hmm.
But you rented them, so it's like a completely different. I don't understand why you would give someone those rented books a loose leaf edition when that's like the most delicate edition.
Like I said,
Like it
they,
breaks apart.
well, the thing is, like I said, I opted for renting a regular book. And instead, they're like, we're just going to sell you. So they made the choice that,
What?
no, I'm not renting. That's what I'm saying. Like, so now I just have these books, which, so just if I haven't said it yet on any of the
Why?
podcasts, I have pre calculus and chemistry one, which are obviously gen ed classes, but for me, I struggle hard, very, very hard with hard sciences. And then I have like a leadership course, which is not really worth mentioning. And it goes with one of the honors program that I'm in. So I would say that's extraneous, and I really have had no complaints with that class so far. It's like do some reading, have some discussions, write some papers. Like love that, perfect. And then there's math, where day one we get on Zoom and the teacher's like, I don't know how to use the online like homework thing, like I'm saying, where like the curriculum is all online and our homework is online, but like he didn't
Mhm.
create this curriculum. It goes along with the textbook publisher, so how to do it. And he's saying like within our tuition that we paid for the class, it was supposed to already give us the curriculum for free, like unlocked online. And apparently almost all the students in this class only have the free trial, and so we're trying to troubleshoot it. before like the 2 weeks runs up, because then we'll just be locked out of all our assignments. So we're trying to hear back from the bookstore or whoever handles that. So again, stress. And that's a big thing I want to talk about a
That's a
little bit
lot of
later.
stress.
So much stress. That was day one, first class, tune in. First thing he talked about. Also, the teacher was late. That's another thing. He was late by
What a
a few
great time
minutes.
you're having.
Yeah. So, and then math, obviously, with these first few days, it's been a lot of stuff that, I was first introduced to, like, even as early as middle school. But does that mean that I
Mm.
retained it and understand it? Not exactly, because,
Mood.
yes,
That's just a mood.
like,
Doesn't mean that I retained
that
it.
is like
Well,
the
no.
ultimate truth, honestly, like, completely. Because that was a while ago, and the last time I took a math class was um almost 3 years ago, and I dropped it after like a month or two. And then before that was in high school, which, it is what it is. I got good grades in my last few years of high school, but also that school ran completely differently, and it really helped students when. Anyways, okay, I want to get back to the stress. Chemistry is all online. Like, I don't even have a Zoom meeting. My chem,
Ew.
I know, right? But also, since I took the introductory course, I don't want to get too
Mhm.
confident, okay? But I'm gonna say it. I've already went over most of the stuff that's in this curriculum. So I feel like I have a better chance, because it
Okay.
feels a lot like review. And I looked ahead and I looked through all the chapters that were being tested over. A lot of it we've already touched on in that remedial class that I took over the summer. So I'm like, okay, now I know I made a good choice from taking that.
That's
But it
good.
was like a nightmare of a 6-week course class in the summer. But I think it really did pay off. And I think obviously that's the whole
Mhm.
point of the class. It makes me feel a lot more confident with chemistry one. And then the lab, I didn't know the lab had so much going on with it, but we're just gonna have to see, because my labs are on Wednesday, so I have not had it yet. But I read the syllabus.
Good luck tomorrow.
Wednesdays are my busiest days. Busiest. I have and it's 3 hours. So I have to block out
Oh, ew.
3 hours, and then of course I have math every day, and then there's
Already the stress is
and then I
just a lot.
and the other thing is, this probably isn't the best thing to air out on the internet. It's nothing like dangerous or scary, and you already know about it, Giuliana, so it's not going to be a surprise
Okay.
to you. Something with this is also the biggest first world problem ever, to know that someone can react this way so strongly to something that obviously is a privilege to have access to. Um, so back, like, when I first got into seventh grade is when math started to get hard, like most courses. You're leaving elementary school where it's
Mhm.
more foundational stuff and it's basic. And even like in elementary school, they're, teaching you how to read and spell and learn basic math. And then you start learning algebra. At least for me, it was like fifth, sixth grade. So basic, the most basic of algebra, like think of a basic equation and solve for x. I can do that no problem.
Okay.
Anything past that,
Mhm.
if if I start to struggle with it, especially if I can like see the answer, like especially like online with this, it'll give me or it'll tell me if I get it right or wrong. Every time I see that I got it wrong, I will start crying. And then if it happens over and over again. And these assignments are long because they want you to practice. And I'll go back to my notes, and I
Right.
literally just sit there, and sometimes when it gets real bad, I just have a breakdown, and I start to say like it kind of looks like I look like a little kid just having an emotional breakdown. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, and I'll say like, I hate this, I can't do this. I say some of like the worst stuff about math when the minute I get help from someone to explain it to me, that all goes away, and then I feel better. So right after class today, I finished my homework rather than yesterday when I waited till the evening. And I did not have a breakdown, and it made me feel a lot better. And I think
That's good.
I also performed better on the assignment. So it's a learning process also to manage my emotions because I've had it where I'm in like a face class for math and I would start
Mhm.
to cry, like, excuse me, as like a high schooler. That's not what a high schooler does.
Okay.
That is what a little kid does when they get overwhelmed. And this literally only happens with math. It overwhelms me so much, but once I get it, like like all of that stress and like emotion that comes up does not come up. So it's something also like most Americans in the world, I don't have a therapist, so I'm kind of trying to do it on my own. I have not met with any sort of licensed professional to break down exactly why I have this response, and it is only to math. Even with like chemistry and science also being difficult, if it's anything not to do with math, I really don't, even though if it's frustrated, like I just kind of, that's as far as it goes. It doesn't, like, it's very embarrassing, but I usually look like a little kid just having a tantrum and not knowing
Mhm.
where I am in the world or what to do. It's, and I know that response is weird. And like I'm saying, like I kind of look like a little kid when it happens. And that's why getting on to a very good point is how elaborate my schedule is and everything that I've put in my schedule. So the one thing that really helped me with chemistry, because it does work with a lot of math over the summer, is that I got a weekly tutor and very few breakdowns happened. The only breakdowns I really had was on an exam when I was like, "Oh my God, I thought I was doing one thing, but I was doing the other." And I'm like, "Wait, I forgot how to go through this and solve." But it was not the same kind of breakdown as I'm talking about now. So I have both a chemistry tutor and a math tutor for this semester. And I also wrote in all of the drop-in hours for the resource centers that our school offers. So they have like drop-in for science and drop-in for math. And let me tell you, math, Monday through Thursday, they're open from like before classes start. Class can usually start as 8 a.m. And then they'll
Yeah.
be open till like some days it's like 11 p.m., but I think it's usually 9 p.m. They're open all
Okay.
day. And so now with being on
That's good.
Zoom, I have yet to use it because it's only day two, but I have like the link to their Zoom meeting ready to go.
Mhm.
So when I start feeling that way and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, especially when I get the same thing wrong multiple times, I'm like, there's there's so many times where I work on one problem and every like outcome, like whatever the number is, it's always different. And I
Yeah.
think that's the most frustrating thing because I'm like, I literally don't know what I'm doing. But now,
I relate to that so much.
yes,
Looking back to my math classes, first of all, I am so thankful I do not have a math class this semester. I was I'm just so glad that I don't have it right now because that would have been cherry on top of everything already.
yeah,
I'm just not made for online classes, So if I had to take a math class and it was online, I'd just be like, be right back. I'm gonna go cry in a corner for 8 hours
you say that,
type of
but
feeling.
that's literally, hey, hey, it's okay, Beans. I think someone just dropped off a package. It's okay.
Oh,
They aren't really barking. Okay, sorry. Um, like I literally relate to that where there's some days where it's like I've cried so much over my frustration with math. I am not exaggerating. I have like the straightest deadpan face right now where I've cried so much that I like am emotionally exhausted to where I need to take like a 4-hour nap right after I'm done crying.
mm,
And usually those cries, other than math, come with much more like emotionally traumatic things, like
Right, like with serious
yeah,
things
like
that really do
someone
make someone
passing
cry.
away, like that's how
Right.
heavy that is. Um, so I PSA, if you can afford a therapist, get one. Is that is that the moral here? Because
Is that the moral for all college students? Get a therapist if
all
you
college,
can.
yes, because like even if you don't have that big of reaction like I do with math, I think I don't know where, but like there's some sort of mental trauma going on. I'm not self-diagnosing, I'm just saying like generally speaking, that's probably what's causing this reaction. And so back to so back to my schedule, the ways I'm combating this is I have all of these different schedules on my beautiful little notes app, aside from like my actual calendar.
Hmm.
And it has all of the times, like all the time slots of when the chemistry drop-in hours are and the math drop-in hours. And then apparently like chemistry has like online like study group rooms. I have not tried it out yet
Nice.
because I haven't had any homework from it yet. But then you can just like literally drop in for an hour, and what I assume is you just work with other students. I don't know if there is a tutor or instructor there.
Sounds good.
And then
It definitely has to be someone that I don't know because in high school we would do like study groups, but then no one would know anything. So it'd just be like, all right, who wants
well,
food?
me,
And we just
me.
we just do anything else.
I'm like, but they have all of these things, and it obviously took me time to learn them. And I know that our school tries to advertise it very well to students, but like I'm just gonna say like obviously they can do more. I think in any case they could um in any school's circumstance they could still do more to advertise these resources. But what a help it
Yeah.
was in the summer. Um, and now with a weekly tutor, um, it's kind of early. My only early day is Thursday, which is why like one of the days we were talking about where we could record was Thursday, and I'm like, I can't do Thursday. Thursday is it it's so or my earliest day, not my longest day. Wednesday is my longest day. Thursday, I just know my schedule by heart after 2 days.
I love it. I need to like memorize it still, and you're just like, okay, let me break it
I've
down
been
for
looking
you.
at it for hours. Hours. Literally last night I was like trying to fix it. Okay. Anyways, we'll get back to that in a second. But Thursdays I have to wake up at everyone don't laugh at me 9 a.m. to meet with my math tutor. Um, because in my schedule otherwise, um, the first school thing I have to do is at 11 a.m. So my morning
Okay.
is like here's my tentative schedule. So mornings before 11 a.m. and these are only on weekdays, obviously. Um,
You're
I
right.
get
Yeah.
breakfast. There's usually some videos on YouTube or something for me to watch. And then if I need to start laundry or if something needs to be cleaned, it's happening in the morning. And that's what I did this morning, and that's what I did yesterday morning. And then it's like, okay, now I can sit down for an hour and learn some math. So then at 11, I do some math. And then throughout the rest of the day, I've already gotten my schedule together. So at the end of every day, I have whatever I need to complete, and I try to work ahead. So, like all my assignments that are due Tuesday night for chemistry, I want to have them tentatively completed by Monday. And that's to compensate for if something happens or if I need help, I still have more time. This
Makes sense.
there's a lot of forethought in this, so I'm not here to upstage Giuliana here if she says something like if she has a less detailed schedule because mine is intense. And like I said, I had been tailoring it for hours last night. That's why I know it by heart. So then I have
I honestly, mine is very less detailed than yours. Mine is just like, I gotta be at work every day except Monday at 8 a.m. and
fun,
then I'll figure it out from there.
but also that's what works for you. Like, I mean, I'm the
Yeah.
one here having an emotional breakdown from functions in math class. Like, that's not normal. So we can easily say my schedule is very, very detailed, overly detailed. But then I have the rule where the rest of the day there are classes, there's the lab, and then there's like tutor sessions that I have, and this is my regular schedule. But then I have to get everything done by 7 p.m. I can do other things during the day, like obviously I gotta walk my dogs, I gotta cook some food, for my dad and I.
Right.
And so that may happen in the evening at like 8 o'clock, or that may happen at like 4 o'clock. So I can still do other things during the day because there are things that will need to be done being at home. But I have these goals of getting my math homework that's due the next day done that night, and getting the chemistry stuff that's done or due the next day done that night. And then at 7 o'clock, if it's not done, well, guess who has to wake up earlier tomorrow the next morning and finish it is me. But then I have that time post 7 p.m. to on the nights that I have scheduled. Again, I've scheduled these things in that I want to go to the gym. I have time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but then other than that, there's nothing scheduled past 7 p.m. because that's my time where I don't have to do any schoolwork or really like clean the house or
I mean,
anything.
that's a good thing. It's a good thing to have like me time designated.
Hmm.
I'm not good with that. I usually just pull those all-nighters, which again, I mean, a lot of people do, but it just doesn't, and then in the morning I wake up and I feel like I'm death
Yeah.
personified.
Oh, here's a good question. Do you drink coffee?
Oh, yes. So much coffee in my life.
Here's the thing that I don't think I ever told you. So remember when I said that I would do, I don't know whose podcast it was on, where I was like, I would also do the all-nighters, the staying up late, or sometimes I would like go to
Mm-hmm.
bed and
Yeah.
then instead, rather than pull the all-nighter, I
Yeah.
would take a short nap, wake up at like 3 in the morning, finish it,
And then do it. Yep.
and then like maybe get 30 minutes of sleep. And then when I stopped drinking coffee when I was 15 or 16, did my dad just pull in the driveway? It's very loud. Um,
It's 3:41.
yeah, weird why he's showing up now. Anyways, when I stopped drinking coffee, I could no longer do that. The sleep was too strong to where it would be like 10 p.m. and I would be like just falling asleep when I'm like even doing something casual like just like checking my email on the computer or watching a YouTube video.
Mm.
I would start dozing off. So I didn't have, and then I couldn't have any coffee in the morning, so it wouldn't wake me up. So that's why I was like trying, my body was like, we need to fall asleep now so you can get up in the morning. So I'm
Right.
not saying like everyone who drinks coffee or anyone who doesn't drink coffee is incapable of doing all-nighters and vice versa. But for me, like I physically could not pull all-nighters anymore.
I I just coffee certainly does help, but like I feel like I'm not a person if I wake up and I don't have coffee.
Mood.
I'm not human. It's like I can't function. And I mean, I've tried before. It was like a fun little, well, it wasn't fun for me, but I thought it was gonna be a fun
Oh yeah,
experiment,
not fun.
just to see how long I could last without coffee. And then I woke up one day. I was still in high school. It was my senior year, so I was um getting ready for the day and everything, and then I had like toast or something. But I always have like a cup of coffee, and it needs to exist in my life. So I cut that out of the day, and like they don't sell coffee at my high school, so I couldn't get it anyway. So I was just like, okay, well, let's see if I can last this full 8-hour day without coffee. And
Doesn't really
I
work.
kid you not, I almost fainted.
Yeah.
I was just so drained. I like every 5 seconds I would close my eyes and like one of my teachers was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I didn't have coffee today, so no, I'm not okay." And then I quickly realized it was just not for me. I was in too deep by that point. I was 17 in my senior year, and I was like entirely way too deep, like 5 years into drinking coffee. Like I could not look back anymore. And then I went back home and I had a cup of coffee, and all my problems just went away. It was magical.
I mean, true.
I mean, it's not good to be like that with anything, but I mean, I'm far too into it now to
Yeah,
stop, and I don't
it
wanna.
took me weeks.
So,
I mean, it's a drug and it's a stimulant.
yeah,
So obviously
yeah,
it took me weeks of being cold turkey, and none of my friends would interact with me because I was just so irritable.
yes,
So I literally had to
yes,
purge myself of coffee, and then once I was done, um, it was like, wow, now if I go back, I know how bad it is, like being on the other side.
yeah.
Like, so I can't go back. And there have been so many times where I've been tempted.
Oh yeah,
Anyways, okay, getting off topic. I want to get back on topic. I wanted to
oh
talk
yeah.
about for preparation for the fall semester, supplies, being at home, and obviously not all of your classes are remote, but like, man, all these expenses for now having to transition to online classes,
Oh
it's kind of crazy, is it not?
my gosh.
I can feel
Yes.
your cringe. I can feel it.
Uh, I could just feel my energy draining, slowly dying. Um, I mean, it was kind of crazy to set it up in the spring when everything just went like completely goodbye. We're going online and that is it. Um, there was like no warning. It was just like I opened my eyes one day and it was just like apocalypse is happening and you're gonna deal with it.
Literally.
Um, make sure your Wi-Fi works kind of thing.
Oh my God.
So,
Yeah, we have to talk about that.
oh my gosh, you can't even. So I at least already had like a desk set up in my room because I just knew that I needed it, but I didn't think I was gonna need it for this. I just thought, I'm gonna need it to do some like homework and things like that when I come back from class and things because I can't do homework anywhere other else in the house because everywhere else is resting place. It's not homework place. So I had that set up, but I hadn't used it in months, so it was like all dusty and I just had to rearrange everything to make room for all the things and then I had to make sure that I had enough post-it notes to put them all up in my wall as
Me,
reminders because I'm looking at a wall of
me,
post-its right
me,
now with
me.
all the
Oh
reminders
my
of the
God.
day. And I just like if I forget something, I know that I wrote a post-it on it and it's somewhere in my wall, and so I'm gonna look at it. And it's just those kinds of things and internet issues, all the internet issues.
Don't.
I'm lucky enough that my internet hasn't stopped working in like a middle of a class or something.
Oh, get ready.
But it has stopped. Oh no, thank you. No, I refuse. Um, though I'm taking most of my online classes even out at work, so
Well, nice.
we'll see how.
Well, I mean,
Well,
you're at the,
I'm just like
it's not on your
that's the
Wi-Fi
thing because like I'm on campus, so from
most
yeah,
of
I
your
could
day.
pretty much say my whole week. Yeah, my whole week from like 8 a.m. until at least noon or 1 p.m. I'm working on
Boo.
campus, and so they set up
Boo.
spaces. They
Me
set
just
up
booing
spaces for
you?
us to go. I love, we love that. But it was just like they set up spaces for us to go and take our classes in without like being disturbed.
Yeah.
So if the Wi-Fi goes off in any of those, it's not gonna be my fault. It's gonna be our college's fault.
Do you know what my math teacher said?
What?
He's like, we're
I'm
not going to
intrigued.
have snow days now since, and he was talking specifically, to our class since we're on Zoom.
Oh
He's like,
my
we're not
god.
going to have snow days. I'm like, no, we're going to have to deal with a much more difficult problem on an individual basis of if someone loses power or if they lose heat in their home. Or
Yep.
again, what if their connection is just spotty? It wouldn't be the whole class getting behind.
Which, by the way,
Oh no.
I love what, like the first month of me getting to the US, big snowstorm,
Oh no.
lost the power. There was no heat for like 4 days. We were freezing.
Oh god.
So, yeah, that is a problem. I wouldn't be able to take class if I was freezing everything off.
Yeah, very true.
So,
And if a power line
yeah,
gets knocked down, your internet's out. And until they fix it,
yeah, goodbye.
or is that internet or power? I think that's power. I don't know what
Well,
the
if
internet
your
is.
power goes out, then the internet goes out too
Right,
because
I'm
there's no
being
power
dumb.
in your house. So
And
they
that's
both,
why you have
they need
external
to exist.
chargers. But that's why you have external
Yes.
chargers. And oh my God, can we talk about? So thank you, mother, in advance. She got my literal mother, just to clarify. Um, I was saying like if I'm gonna be taking all these classes, and also I saw like how functional not only you, Juliana, are with an iPad, but just a lot of people in
Mhm.
classes are using iPads and or other type of electronics that can function as a computer to note take, and or even you can note take by
Mhm.
hand on the
Yep.
device. And I was like, I think this will be crucial. And not only would it have been
Yep.
crucial if you were face to face, but now it is
Oh yeah.
so it is so important in my daily life. Not only I
Oh
mean
yeah.
specifically for school. I was on Zoom today and they literally just opened up like the little whiteboard page and they're like,
Mhm.
write a word or phrase that comes to mind when we say this. And so a lot of people, like usually if you're on a desktop, you would use your mouse and write. But I
Yep.
was on my iPad with my Apple Pencil, not sponsored, and I just wrote the word live like that. And I'm like, wow, this works great. I love that. I hate trying to do it on the computer with the mouse because it never looks right. And I was just like,
Yeah, it never does look right. It's always weird.
yeah, and I'm like, this is where technology is. And like my math teacher has a little like computer camera that faces down on his like empty desk. And so he will
Mhm.
go through the notes that he has, like he has like printed notes with exercises and stuff for us. And we write on, and he's like going through each equation or problem with us. And we can see him
Nice.
writing it, and also like it's like beautiful, like it's in real time where I can see him writing
Nice.
and it just looks perfect. And I'm like, wow, yes, I don't prefer online classes. I think there are a lot of tools, and some of them are personal, like if you own an iPad or, like an Apple Pencil, or I can't think of
Yeah,
other
it all depends on
devices.
what your situation is.
But
Basically, I feel like,
yeah,
but they are incredibly useful. Like when I started using the iPad, it was just, notes and everything like that because I wanted to like save paper and I was just accumulating a bunch of notebooks and things in my room that I realized
well,
like it
me.
just doesn't it's not justified, like I could just be using this and be fine. It is an investment. It's like a $400 investment for both
Whoa,
things.
whoa. I don't know how
So
much you
it's
spent,
like
but mine was a lot more than that.
well, I just
A
have
lot
like
more. Are you talking about the iPad or are we talking about paper?
oh, the iPad and the Apple Pencil. Like both combined for me was like about 450 or
Dude,
something
I
like
don't know
that.
what discounts
I
you're
don't
getting, but I want them. I'm
know.
gonna tell, and maybe it
It's
was like a
probably
different
like a
iPad.
student discount.
Obviously, the iPad
It might have
prices
been.
vary, but like
Yeah, they
my
vary.
iPad was like the better part of $1,000.
Oh
And then
no.
an Apple Pencil, I think you get discounted as a student, but like it's still, like you're saying, it's an investment. But now since I use it for everything for school,
Yeah.
and then oh my God, my class today, my leadership class, they're like, okay, so we have like these fillable PDFs, but honestly, we prefer you to print it and fill it out. And I'm like, do you think everyone's rich over here with a printer at their house?
That's a thing too. That was a thing in my in the spring in one of my classes, that was the thing with my professor. She was like, I want you guys to print it out, fill it out, and then like scan the
No,
PDF and send it to me. And I'm just
no,
like,
no, no.
I am not
Print
about
and then
to like
scan it
I
back.
was like, no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna copy this document, I'm gonna put it in my iPad, and I'm gonna Apple Pencil all of it.
Yes, that's
I
exactly
am
what you
not
should do.
going to print it out and write on it on paper and then just have the paper copy for what?
Just a
It
waste.
wasting paper and wasting my ink. I mean, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Here's the other thing, just like with
Ooh.
many things and many industries that sell you things, I only watched one video on this, but I also like fact check, so like I'm pretty much an expert. No, obviously not. But from what I understand is that a lot of companies that sell printers either make, I think they're at a loss when they sell the printer. So they
Mhm.
make all their money from the ink cartridges because it's something that you need to keep replacing.
Yeah.
And it's something
Yep.
like,
And it's expensive.
yeah, and like an ink cartridge is like a quarter to make. And it's marked up to like the one that I buy for the HP printer here
Like
is like almost
$50.
$50 for just like a black
Yeah.
ink cartridge.
That they're making for like a quarter.
Scan.
Oh yeah,
Literally can't, like
definitely.
too much
Most
of a markup.
definitely.
So I'm like, why don't we just make the printers obsolete? Because all of these other tech companies also have all this stuff where they make everything confusing and you can't use anything that's not from their brand. I mean, Apple is notorious for this. We
Right.
say this as we
Oh
have
yeah.
iPads and Apple Pencils and
Let me
iPods.
say we're like iPhones, Macs, we're just like, yes.
But it's like they're not compatible with other stuff. Like,
No, they're not, which is why you have to have all the Apple things. You know what I mean? It's like because they don't work with other things.
yeah, my laptop is not Apple. And it has like a touch screen. Like the monitor is also like a touch screen where you can just touch it with your finger.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also use like a Bluetooth stylus, which is pretty much what the Apple Pencil is,
Nice.
but it's not
Yep.
compatible because their software says so. And I'm like, that's what
It's just
irks me.
ridiculous.
But also like,
I could complain about Apple, but let me tell you, all of my
we have
electronic
all Apple
devices are
stuff. Yes.
Apple. I have like the MacBook, iPhone, Apple Watch. I can't, I could keep going, but it's gonna be a little embarrassing for me.
Yeah, you can stop. I thought I had a lot of Apple stuff, but no, you have a lot
Oh
more.
no.
No. We can say
No,
you have
trust
more.
me, I
We can,
do.
yeah.
Though I will say that literally almost everything is in my iPad were all gifts from my family. So,
Me. Mood.
it was just like, birthday things and things like that. So it was like, I didn't buy it all myself.
I did buy my not my iPad, my AirPods. That's the word. My AirPods.
Oh yeah.
And just recently because I was like, again, we're gonna call these things investments.
Yeah.
And you know what? I
They are.
use
I
them
mean, they
every
are.
day, and I use them in class, so I don't have the
Yep.
little cord, and I can move my head around freely. And while they were really expensive, and they
Oh
and
yeah,
they
for sure.
are only compatible with my phone and iPad, and not my regular computer. Worth it. Totally
Yeah,
worth
for
it.
sure. I mean, that's how I feel about most electronics is that while they are expensive and especially Apple stuff is, like, not gonna pretend it isn't.
Yeah, they're like,
It's
yeah.
like all of the things that I've had for over 2 years. Like 3 in the case of like my computer, 3 or 4. So it's like they work, and it's like a
Well,
pretty big investment. I'm not saying everyone do it, I'm just saying for me they work perfectly fine. I've been playing The Sims on my MacBook for
jeez.
like years now.
Of course, we gotta talk about the
Yes.
Sims deal. Does that mean I can start talking about chess.com?
Oh my gosh. Have you ever talked about chess.com?
I think I mentioned it once, but no, talk about like
I think
stress
briefly you might
relieving
have.
things. Chess.
Yes.
I played it for 2 hours last night, like late in the night. Like now I'm a night owl because I have nowhere else to be. Um, so relaxing, and again, I'm getting so I shouldn't say I'm getting so good, but I've made a lot of progress since I started using all those lessons because they give you like something to think about and something to do. And then after like a few lessons, and the lessons are like 7 minutes long, they're not long. And then I go and play a few games and
Mhm.
I try to, I'm thinking about implementing it. And now I have a lot of the different like techniques and strategies that they talk about, things like the do's and don'ts, but it's
Mhm.
not like high stress, especially if I'm losing, if I'm kind of on
Right.
the losing end. Um, so I really like that. And I feel, even though I bought the subscription accidentally, even though I was planning to buy it at the time I bought it accidentally, um, it was worth it. And I think I will be using it a lot.
Me with The Sims.
Honestly, yeah. The only thing is like, sorry, I coughed. But with The Sims, I played it like once or twice. I do like life games. I mean, talk about Minecraft where you just like work forever to get like some items. The Sims is just like too much like life that I'm like, I don't find this the most
It's like
enjoyable.
life, but it's also not
Yeah, it's like you can be, you were showing me like
accurate.
you have a mermaid or something. I'm like, it's like
Yes.
life with like all
It's
the imagination of what everyone wants it to be. But at the same time, it's like,
yes.
it, I know there's like so many different versions and stuff, but like, again, I'm talking about like, oh, well, you have to work on The Sims. I'm like, but I can't really say that because on Minecraft, like I just said, it's a lot of monotony of mining and gathering materials. But then it also makes
Right.
me feel like I earned something, which is kind of how it should feel like in real life,
Yes.
working for money. But now we're gonna get into, well, let's not really get into that. But
Nope.
I think there are a lot of parallels. But I think just at the end of the day, it's just like I didn't really like vibe with the game, if I can use the word vibe.
Mhm. I mean, that makes sense, you know. I vibed a little too much probably with The Sims.
And I mean, like, I vibe with
Um,
Minecraft and chess.com, but not a lot of people
just
play that. You're laughing, but like,
that's
Minecraft
fair.
is like, the internet has memed it into the ground that it's the game for like little boys. And I'm like,
I know.
and it makes me so, it makes me uncomfortable knowing that people know that, that have that, I wouldn't say assumption because there are a lot of young boys who play it, but there are also a lot of people who don't, that aren't young boys that play it, like my sister, because she's the one who introduced it to me. And I'm like, honestly,
I mean, yeah,
goals.
there's like a every game has like a different demographic, you know. It's just like I feel like a lot of the audience is probably young boys, but not all of it, obviously.
Sorry, I was just pausing because I was like, did I talk about everything that I wanted to? And actually,
Yeah.
we did. I had like five big points on here. We talked about electronics. We talked about school. Oh wait, side note. Here's the last one I didn't do. School supplies not arriving on time. My chemistry lab kit.
Ugh.
It's gonna take.
Ugh.
It's still gonna take weeks to get here, and it's the first week of
What?
school.
Love
And
that.
so I looked ahead.
Great.
I know this week we don't, our lab does not include it. I'm not sure if next week does, but I know week 3 we're going hard with like, because she said also said we have to have like baking soda for it. So it's like
Oh.
we're going hard week
You're
3.
gonna make things explode.
Literally, it says on the syllabus like you have to make extra purchases, but she hasn't posted all of the week's pre-lab documents because the pre-lab says
Oh.
like any calculations and stuff what we need to do in gathering our supplies. So it'll say like what things to take from your lab kit. Then it also says additional things. And sometimes it's like water, but other times it's like I'm gonna say right now tinfoil. I never use tinfoil because why? But now I have to go and buy
I
some.
have some
I never
that I think it's
use
like super
tinfoil.
old.
Well, I don't think it goes bad, but
Well,
um
no, it's just there.
but some things are like vinegar. And while we have all these things, um there are some,
Do you really want to use them for a science kit, though?
yeah, and I'm like, it also doesn't say how much. And there's some things like I have only little things of vinegar. And like I said, I don't even know if I have a thing of foil. Again, first world problem, but it's a, I don't know if it's called a hidden expense or an added expense to going to school. Because if we were
Yeah.
face to face, we would start the semester and it would be, we would go in the first week like you did in confectionery arts where they say you need to buy this uniform. And we would have to go
Yep.
out as a college student and buy the lab coat and the goggles and whatever else they require for attire. And same with culinary.
Yep.
You need the coat and you need the hat and you need pants and non-slip shoes. And
It's all just like added things, which I mean, I get like the coat at the very least, because things get messy and you need something like that. But I'm just like,
but you're gonna need, you're
pants.
actually gonna need a pants too. The, yeah,
Yeah, it's like the pants, the things. I'm just like, can I just like wear some old jeans that I have and just, that are already stained? You know what I mean?
you're
Which,
not gonna
uh,
like, I'm gonna like school everyone on like kitchen safety because I actually trashed that episode that I told you I was gonna record, trashed it. It was not good.
oh yeah.
I'm gonna rework it a little bit
Oh,
probably. But
okay.
the biggest point of having like a coat and chef pants is so that it's not directly on your skin. And
Right,
you will
yeah.
be
Makes
working with
sense.
hot liquids, like when you have to
Yeah,
heat up your
for
ice to melt.
sure. Like, mhm.
I'm not saying that you're gonna be stupid and get stuff on you. I'm just saying for whoever is
No, but it
listening,
happens.
yeah,
Like,
I'm just saying whoever's listening, like the reason of having the loose, thick clothing, and there's also some like weird rules where you can't like roll up your pants if they're too long. You have to cut and hem them. Otherwise, they're
what?
pockets that can accumulate things.
What?
I know. I roll mine up still, but that's actually not correct. But if something spills on you or if you catch on fire, the point is so that it's loose so it doesn't burn your skin and you can easily remove it. And every time I think of
Right.
that, I'm like, I just imagine it's so weird. Like someone's pants catches on fire and then they just have to take them
Pull
off in the
them
middle of a
off.
kitchen.
No, thank you.
And also they're
No,
like
thank
so
you.
loose that like wearing like gym shorts or like spandex shorts are like much more comfortable than not wearing any other like short or pant under your big like loose chef pants. So I'd also recommend wearing
Hmm.
those because they're a lot more comfortable. Because like otherwise the
Okay.
chef pants are just like a single like elastic band that will hurt
Fall off.
hurt the how do I say this? No, it will not fall off. It's the opposite. It will grip you so hard.
Oh,
So like it doesn't matter how little or how much fat you got in that area, but I know I do, and it'll grip you hard. So when you wear something like spandex or gym shorts under,
hmm.
it it makes it more bearable.
Okay.
Again,
I'll keep that in
again, very
mind
small
for next
issue,
week.
but
Oh yeah, definitely. Not like the biggest issue that you could ever have with
like they'll
classes or
get
anything. It's just like
uncomfortable.
complaining time.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
they'll get uncomfortable. Ever since I started working in a kitchen, I wore shorts under my chef pants. And they make ones that like button that are like with like the
Hmm.
zipper and button, and they're still
Yeah.
not very fitted. Those are usually what men use since their figure's a little different than women's. But for the most
Hmm.
part, it's like elastic band, and it's going to grip you hard
Okay.
because you don't want your pants falling down.
Well, no.
But then,
I don't think that would be my worst nightmare
but like you're
realized.
going to have marks for the next day wearing pants like that
Great.
with no other like layer of clothing there, like shorts.
Good to know.
And you're also going to look, I say, look so dumb because you got to wear them up high.
Oh,
You don't want them low.
okay.
I'm not trying to
I
scare
love
you.
this instructions. I'm like,
Like I
okay.
don't know if you wear like low rise pants. You know what I'm
I
talking about?
don't usually. I
Okay.
I like mid-rise and high-rise,
Okay,
so
then
I
it'll
think
be
I
where you
should
wear
be
those
good.
pants. It'll be that high. I
Okay,
was trying
okay,
to get
okay.
you. I
That's
guess I
not too
shouldn't have
bad.
started with that. If it's gonna be,
I was like,
it's like you're gonna wear them high, like especially if you're like bending over. You don't want anything, slipping down or being exposed. And also, it's just for comfortability. Um, but like
Right.
some people like that I've met, they only wear like low rise pants or something like that where it doesn't come like up past their hips, and I'm like, get used to it. Like, and also like if you bend down with pants that low, like things are gonna be showing.
Yeah, no.
So like obviously
Yep.
in a kitchen, and then also your chef's coat is long anyways, so like probably nothing's gonna happen if something goes a little wrong.
Right,
Which is
yeah.
probably why I love wearing my chef's uniform, because I'm very modest, and it totally blurs the feminine figure. What am I even saying? Well, that's kind of the
I
point. They're
love this
supposed to make you,
conversation.
the culinary hierarchy. It was designed after, I think it was for a French guy, and the designed it after the French military. And so obviously you're supposed to be dressed the same, and it's supposed to be the most functional clothing, which means it doesn't flatter you at all. It will not
Well,
flatter
yeah,
you
I
no matter
mean,
what you look like.
it's not a fashion show, right? You need it to be comfortable and practical for cooking, so I understand.
Hmm.
Believe me, I don't want to flatter anything either. The
Yeah,
baggier, the better in my life. So
me, literally me. Should see what I'm
I
wearing.
cannot wait for the actual fall weather to start so I can wear sweatshirts again. Sweaters and sweatshirts.
I'm
Though
waiting.
where we are in the world,
Hot, 90 degrees.
it's like 2 weeks of fall and then winter starts. So
Oh, right. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just saying it was hot now, but
yeah.
yeah, we only get it for
Oh
like
yeah, it's hot now, but
by October when excuse me, when people trick or treat, which obviously is not happening this year. Um,
it's winter.
it's already so cold that so many years, because I lived here obviously a lot longer than Juliana has in our area, and
Yes.
um, the place that I lived before was in a much warmer climate, and
Mhm.
so it also was a place where you never wore jackets. Everyone, try and guess where I used to live.
I
Spoiler
have
alert,
one choice.
I was in the state of Florida, so it was always warm and humid. I don't think that's revealing too much about me, but now where we live, like I would plan my costume, and then even though I was like still being naive, before I would leave to go and trick or treat, my parents would be like, "You need to bring your
Mhm.
winter coat because it's that cold,
Yep.
like
Yep, yep.
like
Well, I
50s."
went trick or treating in Canada too, so that is the feeling.
Yeah,
I had like my whole outfit on, it was so good, and then big, gigantic winter coat on top that just completely just didn't even showcase the actual Halloween
yeah,
costume that I was wearing, and I was so upset about it. I remember this until this day.
same here because it just kind of ruined my night when I was like an 11-year-old, and I'm like, man,
Yes.
I worked so hard on this costume, and now I just have to be a kid in a winter
Like I
jacket.
planned it in advance, it was just like
Oh my God, there's a
planned
fly in my
out.
room. Get out.
planned
Get out.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, so the thing about here's the last point I'll say, since this is kind of running long. Um, Also,
Yes.
we covered all the points. We're prepping for the fall, and by also prepping for the fall, we're not trying to think about it too much.
Yeah, we're just like conceal, don't
We're like,
feel.
let's talk about Halloween and how it's canceled. Fun.
Yeah.
There's a little
Fun times.
AC unit in my room now, but it isn't really secure. So
Okay.
like there are holes on the sides where it should be blocking out everything.
Oh,
So a fly just got through, and I knew that was going to happen.
fun.
Anyway,
What a fun time.
well, I think we covered everything. We covered my emotional breakdowns. How Wi-Fi apparently now is required by our school. It's actually a requirement for
Yeah.
taking classes now. So if you don't have good Wi-Fi,
Oh
I
yeah, it's like in
assume,
the syllabus also.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's in all of the syllabi. So I'm like, well, I guess they just won't accommodate you, which
Nope.
whatever it is, what it is. My chemistry lab kit not being here. my elaborate schedule, which is beautiful and it's colorful and it's jam-packed with everything, buying a bunch of,
And my non-elaborate, my non-existent schedule, actually.
but like,
Not even non-elaborate, just non-existent.
there's nothing wrong with that. I look at mine and I'm like, I need to chill. But also, if I don't have it all written out like that, I will not be able to function as a student. So, I sound a little crazy, yeah, but hopefully someone out there in the universe that is listening, one of my like 3 listeners, hopefully can resonate that sometimes if you just aren't good at something, I don't know, people just say to get good, and the only way for me to get good is to get a like a very elaborate schedule. And like you said, I have multiple sticky notes. They're color coded. They're all different sizes. I have different colored
Yes.
like pens to write stuff
Yes.
in. Like this is the only way that I can stay afloat. And even then,
But I mean, that's the way that works for you. So that's everything that you need to take care of, you know? It doesn't matter what other people
yeah.
think because it works for you. Like, I mean, just like not having that detailed schedule works for me, you know? It's like
Mhm.
whatever works for you is what is valid and what, you know, you should keep doing.
Mhm. And so to close, I would like us to share our semester predictions with each other. Whatever whatever your prediction is for this semester, it could be your grade, it could be how many breakdowns you're going to have, like me,
Oh.
how many tests you're going to fail, or I shouldn't say that, how many tests you're going to
Ooh,
pass. Let's be positive. How many
let's
tests
be
you're going to
positive, yes.
pass, and I will let you start, Giuliana.
Okay. Well, not to brag, but I did have a 4.0 last semester, and
Hang on, round of
I am
applause,
hoping
round
to
of
keep
applause.
that.
I got 1B last semester. Well, not in the spring. Not in the summer. I'm talking about the spring. I had 1B, so I didn't get 4.0, but that's a big accomplishment. This is not a sarcastic clap, but I'm also trying to be quiet,
Thank you.
trying to not make it too loud.
But I'm going for that. That is the goal, to do that again this semester. And that will be accompanied by at least 10 breakdowns I foresee in my future
Oh, goodness.
because that's the type of person that I am. And I already know I have one class that is fully online. It doesn't even have Zoom sessions. I already know that most of my breakdowns are going to happen because of that class. I am fully aware and prepare for it, kind of, you know, not really, but I see myself in the future having those breakdowns. But getting that A anyways, because that is very just important to me right now, is to get all A's to prove to myself that an online semester is just not going to defeat me. And that is the way that I will do that. Just for me, you know? That is my prediction.
Okay.
What about yours, Alexis?
Oh, sorry. I have a little dog over here making noise. I'm trying to also kill this fly at the same time.
Yay.
Well, yeah. I mean, come here, you. If someone's getting into trouble, this little nug.
Oh, no.
You guys sit down, Peanut. She's getting antsy. So yeah, I gotta make this quick. My predictions is my internet will go out at least twice. I have the prediction because my FaceTime calls get dropped a lot, which I believe that depends somewhat on Wi-Fi. If not, then I also have bad cell service. This dog just walked a circle around me. Why? She's like, I want to
I
go.
don't
Let's
know.
go run around. My other prediction is all of my dogs are gonna make cameos in all of my Zoom sessions or every Zoom class because they always all want to sit on my lap at the same time because they're like, give me attention, give me attention. Don't give the computer attention.
Right.
Another prediction is I'm going to get an A in my leadership class and
Yes.
I will pass my other 2 classes. I'm not confident in A's, but I got a B in my remedial chemistry class. Oh, they're all watching the fly. Sorry. very
Oh,
distracted by them trying to catch the fly. But I want to pass my other two classes. I don't think I will get A's, but a B is still a very good grade. And a C, I should just count my blessings then that I passed.
okay.
And those are all my
That's
predictions.
fair. Those are fair predictions,
Yeah, I mean, I also think I'm going to turn in all my homework on time.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think that's important. And like I said, with the
that is
tutors and
important.
all the other, all the other drop-in hours to get help, um, just knowing how easy it is just to log in. And I did it over in the summer once or twice just to check it out. And I mean, again, it's online, it's on Zoom, but they've really, I would say our school adapted very well to making things a lot more accessible, all these
Oh,
services
yeah, they did it
accessible
pretty
online.
quickly.
Yeah. It's like they
Mhm.
did it in the spring. Um,
Yeah,
like
they started it going pretty well in the spring. Like those, what about like a month after like the apocalypses happened? It
yeah,
was just,
our spring break, I don't know what they were doing during the spring break. I don't know who still works during that time. That sounds very naive, but like I truly don't know because I'm sure not in school or thinking about school that week. But then our school took the week after spring break and remained completely
yep,
closed
yep.
to,
And then they figured everything out.
yeah, they got very organized, and I'm like, props to them. They've made a lot of hard
Yep.
decisions, and Juliana knows my strongly worded email that I sent to the dean for
Yes, I do.
this thing. But at the end of the day, it was a decision
Overall,
that
they're
had to be
doing,
made. Yeah, like
yeah,
it's not.
they're doing okay.
Yeah, this situation is not ideal for
No,
anyone.
not for anyone.
So of
Yeah,
course the
exactly.
hard
Like
decisions
they
are
don't
going
want
to
to be
be
doing
made.
this changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like they don't want to be doing these things, but sometimes you just something's gotta give.
hmm So with this podcast being so long and us going on so many tangents, I think even with all the tangents, it sums up how well um, our preparation for the semester is going. We learned about Wi-Fi, we
Yep.
learned about bread making, and learned about how chess.com relaxes me and The Sims relaxes Juliana. So we're learning a
Yes.
lot about each other, and everyone learned about my breakdowns. And also my breakdowns, like they clear up real quick if I just like walk away for 2 minutes and pet my dogs. So that's another kind of nice thing about being at
Good.
home. So,
Yeah.
but I would just like to wrap it all up here. I have all my dogs right here trying to catch this fly. Um, so everyone, thank you for listening to the Pursuit of a College Education podcast, and thank you to Juliana coming on again, taking a fair amount of time out of her both of our busy schedules. It was so hard to find time. And it's only day
Oh
2 of
yeah.
school. I anticipate this podcast will come out. I don't know when. I don't know where I'm in my schedule, but it is not going to be out this week, the week that we're recording.
Yeah.
I think this is a very good reflection of how we have prepped for this semester and how we have started it. And hopefully, if we find time, or if I find time, again, we'd have to work it out, but I would really like us to come on again to do something for the end of the semester or coming into the spring semester because I really like whether I do it on my own or have Juliana here because it's really nice hearing from someone else about, like the predictions and how we prep for the semester and how it looks different for what classes we're taking.
Yep, for
So
sure.
we,
I feel like that's gonna be an interesting one.
yeah, we're going to try and figure that out when the time comes. But again, thank you for
Yep.
everyone listening. You can find Juliana in most places where you can find my podcast. Uh, I'm sorry, I just blanked. It's I guess you can say your Instagram handle. I have it written down, but I'm not looking at it right now.
Oh yeah. So you can find my podcast everywhere that you would find Alexis's podcast, like she said. I do have an Instagram account, which is at international.t,
Right.
and an email account if you want to email me also. It's international.t2020@gmail.com. And yeah.
All right. If you want to reach me, I'm wherever you can find Giuliana's podcast plus YouTube audio version only. And if you would like to send me an email for whatever reason, you can email me at pursuitcollegeedu@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.